Welcome back to the DubaiView podcast show. Today we have a special podcast. Normally I have just one guest, one familiar guest already on my left side, Immanuel Ezikiel. Thank you for having you back here in the show.
Thank you for having me.
On the right side, Ranjan Bhattacharya. Thank you for having you.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to be part of your first double act podcast.
Yes, so you're a very interesting person. Today I have as well two authors. Last time we talked about Immanuel's book, 6 Steps to Financial Freedom. You are not just an author, you are as well an entrepreneur and a property investor, very well known in the property and UK real estate market, talking about your wisdom with over 80,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes, YouTube channel growing.
And I hope today you can give my listeners a little bit of insights why you are sitting currently with Immanuel and with me here in Dubai, and what is the reason, and a little bit around about of your life and the property market in UK.
Wow, where do I start? Well, I've kind of been naturally interested in property from the last 30 years. I bought my first property literally a week after graduating from university, and I've been in the UK property market ever since. I think increasingly now everyone should look at some element of diversification. Not just diversification in terms of not having all your eggs in the property basket and look at other things that you can do, but also regional and geographic diversification. And I think one thing for those who are watching this from the UK or have participated in UK property, here's my observation of the Dubai property market. I mean, I started investing in the early 1990s, and there was the rules and regulations and red tape around property investing in the UK in the 1990s is kind of where we are at in Dubai right now. So the red tape has got to such a level, it's almost grinding to a halt a lot of the activity that you can do in the UK, whereas here that friction is not there. That's very exciting.
Absolutely. So now having both of you here, so what was the first step that you said in UK, or what was happening in UK that the first step for you was we have to check other countries what are interesting to invest in, and we are not investing all our assets in the UK market?
For me, it's been happening for a while, and Ranjan and I were just discussing this the other day. It's very much, how do you cook a frog? You put it into a coal saucepan, you turn up the heat slowly, and you don't realize you're being cooked. Whereas if you put the frog straight into the hot saucepan, it'll jump straight out. And in the UK, for a little while now, we've been put into this saucepan as frogs. The heat's been turned up slowly, and we haven't really seen or felt the progression of what's happening through now consecutive governments. So for me, for the last few years, I've been looking at different avenues. I've been lucky enough that my son moved to Dubai a couple of years ago, and really opened my eyes up more by coming here on a more frequent basis, just to how entrepreneurial this market is, how hungry it is, and how many people from diverse nationalities are coming here. So I've been looking at this in a very different way for quite some time, because the opportunity for earning money and retaining money as an entrepreneur in the UK is diminishing dramatically, and the new legislation that the Labour government have just put in is making it worse. That doesn't mean to say the UK market isn't a good market for people that are starting out, but people that are established, like people like Ranjan and myself, have been in the market quite some time, have more options now for diversification. So it really is a market that should be explored. We have a number of friends, worker colleagues, associates that are all doing exactly the same thing. We're feeling very disillusioned in the UK, and we're feeling ostracized in our own country as being entrepreneurs, especially in property. As a property investor, landlord, developer, I think we're seen as parasites as opposed to business people in the UK, and that's not a good feeling to have.
And here, of course, it is one of the target sectors that the government's focusing on. You know, there's obviously the gold, there's tourism, as real estate. It's one of the target. I mean, there is a feeling that the UK government is very much anti people who are doing anything with property
Exactly.
in
That's
the
what
in the
I
UK.
wanted to come back. I see that the government currently are not giving entrepreneurs, developers, and property holders the possibility to breathe in UK. So how you are seeing the market? You think it will change in the future, or you think it will get more worse? Because currently I'm seeing here a lot of UK people moving to Dubai, investing in Dubai, and as well living in Dubai.
I think it all depends where you are in your journey. I think a brief observation I've made is that I think the UK has far more options to do property with leverage than there is in the UAE.
Totally.
But the UAE offers far more capital growth potential in the immediate term, in my view. So depending on where people are in their journey, that will dictate what they do. I mean, if someone is just starting out in property, there are still great opportunities in the UK to build a portfolio of a few properties that generate some cash flow. But when they've generated a certain amount of cash flow, the regulation and the taxation all kicks in and makes you think about, well, is there life beyond these shores?
Absolutely.
And the Labour government is very, very anti-people in business. I mean, when you get off the plane here, it's so lovely to feel appreciated for what you love doing. If you love being an entrepreneur, there's so much entrepreneurial talent here, and people are thriving. There's no one kind of putting you down or wanting to keep you down, or that envy culture doesn't seem to be here. Certainly, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Totally right.
what I'd like to say is even further than that. In the UK, when you're making money or you're made money, people tend to want to knock you down. When you come to Dubai, everybody wants you to succeed. Everybody wants to earn money. It's not a dirty word. It's looked upon favorably, and everybody can earn simultaneously. We don't mind agents making money, consultants making money, developers making money, investors making money. It's a place where it's thrived upon.
Absolutely. Everyone is helping someone else.
Yeah, in the UK, if you're doing well, we don't talk. We just don't talk about it. We don't want to put our head above the parapet for fear of sort of knocking. Here, people just love you to be successful and to succeed. And that's what I like about it, as well as the sun.
100%. I had it, I guess, 1.5 years ago. Mike, if you see this, he became the second place on Mr. Olympia. He's one of the successful bodybuilders around the world who purchased as well from me a property. And he came here, was checking with his wife to move to Dubai. And then he said, Mary, something is wrong here in Dubai. I said, what is wrong? He said, I entered the Binance gym, and all the personal trainers and all the influencers was asking me how much I'm earning and how many clients I have. And we was discussing, and they say, hey, we support you and we repost and we put you on the television, and that much thing, it's felt like a scam. He said to me, because in Germany, no one is coming and say, hey, I help you to earn more money, or I help you to push you or to get more viral. It's not realistic for us in Europe because we grow up with holding you down and don't get successful. And in Dubai, it's like a support from each side. And this is, I guess, why a lot of people are moving here to Dubai, and a lot of expats, they don't believe it.
I think people are moving here more than just for that reason. The more time I spend here, the more I realize what the attraction is here. So besides the ability to earn money and to be successful if you want to and work hard, then you've got to have the weather. Then you have the respect right across the board, men, women, governments, police, safety. Those are a lot of things that we're not experiencing in the UK. It used to be a fantastic place to live. Ranjan and I have both made our money and been very successful in the UK, and very grateful to the UK, and still am and always will be. But the culture now where you don't feel safe to walk around in nice clothes or have a nice watch, it's becoming a less lovely place to live. It really is. It's not the same place that it was.
The safety issue is becoming, the UK, it's also becoming a bit of a laughing stock in the rest of the world. I was, just a couple of days ago, I was going for a meeting down here in Business Bay. And while I was waiting for the person I was meeting to come down, I was chatting to the security guard in the lobby. The guy was from Cameroon. And he just asked me, where are you from? And I said, I'm from the UK. Whereabouts? London. And he said, I hear it's not safe over there. So this is some guy from Cameroon is telling me that London is not safe. How far that message seems to have rippled around the world is just phenomenal.
Absolutely. Coming back to the properties, now for a lot of investors or expats who are thinking to move from UK to Dubai, and as well for you experienced what we was discussing last time, I guess in UK you can buy properties blind. You know the streets, you know the areas, you know which investment is good, which investment is not good. Coming here into a hub, seeing all that high-rise buildings, all that areas, how you are navigating.
I think on the plus side, you've got a lot of data here.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of government data that's reliable. So you can pick things up. I think one of the differences, and Immanuel and I were discussing this, if you look at, say, UK areas like, Chelsea or somewhere in London, the whole of that Chelsea postcode pretty much has a certain value, give or take a certain amount, depending on quality, condition, and all of that. Because the whole town is like the community. And here you can be in one geographic area and have a community built by one developer, and just right next door, a building built by some other developer. And there's a massive difference in price and also rental and demand and all of that for those units. But they're in the same geographic area. I don't think we have that so much in the UK.
No, we don't have that so much in the UK. And Dubai is still relatively a new market. In reality,
Yep.
In terms of the real estate market, I was here sort of 25 years ago when it really was just a desert, and probably pinching myself and kicking myself I didn't buy a lot more at that period of time. However, as the areas, as Ranjan said, have grown, and you have the different developers, the different kind of building, the floor plate, the floor it's on, the view it's on, there's so many different things. And that's why having, I've said it a few times, having a property consultant that can help you navigate and understand the market. And yes, you will make commission regardless, but you'll make commission by giving us the right product because we'll buy more. Whereas because there are so many agents in Dubai, I think at last count about 80,000. That's a lot of agents all chasing for the same business. As having somebody that you can rely upon with the information and the data to build a long-term relationship. That's one of the things, reason why we've connected. I was lucky to be connected to you through my son, Joel.
Yeah.
He does business with you as well. And having that reliable information, Ranjan and I are both about know, like, trust. It takes time to know someone. Like people, you can like them straight away, but the trust takes time and you have to build that relationship. And that's what I think we've built with you over the last few months.
There seems to be more real estate agents here per head of population than anywhere else I've known. And I just don't see how anyone can get advice from someone who's only been in the country 6 months. You yourself, more than a decade of experience working in the real estate sector. You've seen the peaks and troughs. You've seen everything. And and that's why you need a consultant. Because if you're coming in here brand new, you want the backing of someone with that decade's worth of footprint. Yes, I can do my due diligence on various government websites and get the data to back it up. But there's nothing that replaces that decade's worth of experience, in the trenches experience.
I totally agree. I had yesterday, I guess, more than 3 hours team meeting with my agents. And I was discussing it. Officially, we have registered by BRN number between 15 to 20,000 real estate agents. Black numbers, we talk about 60 till 80,000. But how many people are coming and going? It's a lot. Comparing with other real estate companies, boutique developers and big ones who we made our marketing studies, you have 20% of the sharks who's holding the companies and 80% who's just taking you the money out. Looking now, the sales transaction, we had 520 billion of sales transactions. But every second or third month, an agent is flying back to his home country because he's not succeeding here. And I guess important as well is to check, not direct to go with one agent, to check how you say it, how many years he is here. He's owning own properties. So putting some assets as well on site, just being an influencer and starting now selling properties here in Dubai, of course, it's taking you a high risk that he's giving you the right property investment.
There does seem to be a lot of that. People making more reels on social media than they are
absolutely.
selling properties.
They're selling vacuums, they're selling houses, they're selling cosmetic stuff.
So it's funny you mentioned the word succeed, because Ranjan, his channel is called Succeed in Property. So it's a really appropriate word about how you succeed in property, whether you be in the UK or in Dubai, is having the right people, the right information to help and guide you. Because it is a massive market. There is a huge amount of development here all over, and not all the developments are going to succeed. Not all the builders are the same. We know that. So buying from a reliable developer who can build on time, got a good payment plan, buying at the right time, all of those micro bits, each one of those add a different factor to whether you're going to be profitable or not, whether you're buying the right investment or not, and having that reliable source of information that you can also verify yourself with, as Ranjan said, the government data, which is a lot here, is very helpful.
Okay, let's talk specifics. I mean, one of the videos I've done on my channel, first one of the year, is 3 areas to focus on for UK property investors in 2025. We're at the beginning of 2025. We met last year in November. It's the first time we met in 2025. What are your 3 areas that real estate investors should think about as having the maximum growth potential and ROI potential in Dubai for 2025? Putting you on the spot a bit.
Sure. I diversify it every time. I say you have 2 types of investors. One investor who's checking for capital growth, and then you have the investors who's checking for return of investments.
Yeah.
So if someone is checking for capital growth, absolutely one of my favorite spots are Creek Harbor. Why? Because how the CEO Alabar said, Creek Harbor will be the new downtown without mistakes. And this is a big sentence. The downtown was one of the first areas what they did, and many mistakes happen as well in the infrastructure. So they learned about the experience, and I'm living by myself in Creek Harbor, and I see how beautiful the community is.
For those who don't know, I mean, Creek Harbor is literally on the shore, but there's a massive area before that where they're going to build a big creek tower, and which is probably going to be a building site for the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
Does that affect the livability of that area?
No, I don't see anything there because they made it very smart. They started with the island side, and then they start with compared with the beach side. So there's just a bridge with a canal between, who's connecting island and beach side. So, of course, people who was living in one tower and next to each is the construction. And here we are known for working 24/7. There was a lot of people who had less sleep to 100%, especially who they start constructing the lagoons. But now that island side is almost done, and the beach side as well, they are making now the other phase on the beach side with Orchid and Lotus, what get it hand over now. There's a big distance between that we from the old beach side who's living in Summer or Breeze buildings are not hearing the Lotus and Orchid buildings who's getting constructed now. So they made it quite smart, but still, if you are living opposite of a new construction phase, you will hear it. But checking all the assets and infrastructure, what they're bringing it, if you hold a property like that the next 10 till 12 year, you can be pretty sure that you double, triple the investment amount, because you have palace residences directly facing over the canal, over the lagoons, over the low-rise buildings on the beach side, and you have the tower exactly in front of your face. So if you're waiting, of course, till the tower is done, Everyone knows what happened in downtown. Who was watching on on the Burj Khalifa? Check a backside view. Who's not seeing the Burj Khalifa, and the front side who is seeing it? We're talking about 1.5 million, 1.6 million dirham more on property price. And Creek Harbor have that potential. It will be the biggest mall, the first mall who you can enter with an electrical bicycle.
Oh, wow.
So it's insane. It's mean I can go with, I don't know, electrical bicycle inside, say open, I want to buy 2 Hermes bags and driving out. How they want to do it, I don't know. We will see it if the mall is open.
What other areas should we focus on?
So Creek Harbor is one of my favorite areas. Then, of course, absolutely what as well is some very beautiful area, but already developed, who I told my people 3 years before, was Blue Waters. It was as well one of the top-notch areas.
Yeah.
My experience, what I made before, was the Jumeirah Islands. So I remember my first sale on the villa there was an OP price of 10.9 million dirhams, and we resale it for 39 million dirhams. So it was a triple of amount. And the south side, MR South.
Oh, yeah.
No one is believing in it.
Yeah.
But if you're watching the master plan and MR connecting, of course, with the government, all the locals have a lot of benefits moving to the south. The plots are much bigger than we know it here in downtown in Dubai. And I'm pretty sure that the valley and all the other
Is that more of a longer term play?
Yes.
5 to 10 years?
Yes.
Once the airport matures.
Exactly. This is like the long plans, what I have in mind. So Creek Harbor, all the south part, you will appreciate a lot. If we're going about fast money, good ROI, now Dubai Land, one of my favorite spots now because it's JVC before 10 years.
What type of property should we be looking at? Because do you think we should be concerned about buying 1 and 2 bedroom flats now, which are going to be completing in 2 years' time? Because there's just a sheer number of 1 and 2 bedroom flats due for completion in late 2026, 2027. Will there be enough demand for all of those?
Absolutely. If you're watching now, we have 40,000 properties who was getting handed over. So comparing with the Emirates IDs, what we have from people who was moving to Dubai, still we have less demand because the last 3 months was 150,000 people who applied for the Emirates ID. Compared with 40,000 properties, you can make your calculation. Everyone is thinking Dubai is a bubble. This is normal my question, what I wanted to say to you. If you are seeing that Dubai is a bubble, but how Dubai should be a bubble if the economy is growing? The population are moving to Dubai, looking on the vision of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Everything what he said decades of years back till now happened. So, and his vision is to be 7.8 million people living in Dubai. Currently, we are 3.8 million. The only thing what I'm looking and don't know how he want to do it is just the infrastructure with the streets and bridges, because already we see how much traffic we have here in Dubai. If we are 7.8 million people, I hope I will be that rich that I can fly with a helicopter.
This is going to be the first place in the world where there's going to be flying taxis. So it'll all be to play for. I think you mentioned something, and I think this is a big thing that is quite inspiring for us from European countries, USA, Canada, in that there's actually a plan. You know, it really does feel that our government doesn't have a plan for the next week, let alone 2050, for God's sake. Honestly, you know, it's just ducking and diving and changing and U-turning and whatever. The master plan, there is no master plan where we're from, and it is just so lovely to see. And the other thing is, yes, there's a master plan, but if you kind of look back at the master plan, you can see things have been delivered. If you go back to the master plan and what was said 10, 15 years ago, you can see the delivery of it. So the track record is there. It's not as though 2050 is pie in the sky. The track record is there for that delivery, which is inspiring.
Absolutely. I think there's just so many differences between here and the UK. The difference with how the government operates, they're seeing their country as a business. the UK, we don't have people even in business running the government. Ranjan has a famous quote that he says, "It's not Rachel Reeves, it's Rachel Thieves." I'd like to see it Rachel Leaves. Of course, she just has no clue what she is doing. In fact, even on her CV, I believe that she told a few white lies that she was in the what was it again, Ranjan? She was head.
Oh, she claims to be an economist, but worked in a customer complaints department, and then is Chancellor of the Exchequer, making a real hash of things.
It's very different. But the question I'd like to ask that Ranjan says is slightly different. So we're going to have people watching, hopefully from the UK too, and people that want to dip their toe into the marketplace. Probably won't have huge amounts of money, but they still want to invest here. So if somebody's got where they can leverage through some mortgages, because you can get expats mortgages here for around about 60%. What kind of properties should they dip their toes in that might be in the region between maybe £2 to £3 or £400,000? So their deposit that they have, they can actually buy it either for rental income or yield. And maybe we can talk about what kind of real yields you can expect, whether it be long-term rental or short-term rental, and also what sort of appreciation they might find, because not every area is going to give great returns. We've seen that already.
Absolutely. So 200 to 300, I say every time between 250 and 300 you can start good. 200 is every time I start in a range where I have to offer apartments from developers who I'm not dealing with. So I say between 250 to 300, it's a good price to start with. Absolutely, what I'm recommending every time is entering in B locations. How I do it with myself. The first time I was entering in an A location was with you, Immanuel. Otherwise, I entering in B location. Why? Because you see the difference. Coming back to Creek Harbor, watching there, buying and purchasing now a one-bedroom apartment will cost me around about 1.8, 1.9 million dirhams. So I would getting currently a rental on yearly of 130 to 150,000 dirhams. So I know a lot of people still they're getting 120,000 dirhams a year. So it meaning I'm almost investing 500,000 euros to get a one-bedroom apartment for 130,000 dirhams of rent. What we talk about 28,000 euros. What is okay? Let's say if we look on the capital growth. But in the meanwhile, if I entering in Dubai land, I can purchase, or in Al Fushan, let's talk more about Al Fushan, entering in Al Fushan, who the high rental price is already high, I get 90,000 dirhams, 95,000, sometimes 100,000 dirhams a year for one bedroom, and a one bedroom costs me 1.2, 1.3 million dirham. So it's mean I save almost more than 110,000, 120,000 euros, so my ROI is much higher. So if I go on locations like Al Furjan, JVC, JVT, Dubai land, I say realistically you can go out with 7.5 till max 8.5, 9% return of investment.
That's pretty good. I mean, well, I get your point. I mean, there's location and there's location. There's areas like City Walk in downtown, which are pretty much the same as central London, quite frankly. And there's the areas you talked about, but there's a lot of up and coming areas that people are having a punt on. Now, I mean, one of the events that we attended while we were here was a 1 billion followers summit, and increasingly now there are worldwide summits and exhibitions. Held in Dubai because the flight connections are so good, and they've built this fabulous expo city, and there's some great apartments that seem quite cheap, quite frankly, around there, which presumably will have both short-term and long-term rental potential. What's your take on having a punt at some of those sort of areas?
So that's exactly what I said. MR South is next to Expo City. So, and if you're checking the master plan, what they're planning, it's very interesting to enter an Expo City and as well in MR South. The question is just, you have to enter now, because if they're already developing since the last 2-3 years, Expo City and Emma South. So the prices what the people was entering 3 years ago is totally different already for the prices what you're entering now. If you're waiting now other 1-2 years and entering then, of course you're not making the appreciation than the people who was entering now 3 years back a time. We see it again, Creek Harbor. I bought the Palace residence with one of my French clients, a 2-bedroom for 1.4 million dirhams. Going now on Property Finder, they are dealing with it for 2.8. So it's just a time when you're entering into the market and checking the new dirhams. You're seeing they face Expo City on it. So it means something. I didn't saw one time in my life downtown at the Burj Khalifa on it. I didn't saw City Walk on it. So there's a meaning if the government is printing on their money the Expo City. So it meaning they have a plan for it and they have a vision out of Expo City. And now there's a new launch as well from MR in Expo City, who you still can enter with a very, very good budget.
And Expo City is very close to where the new airport is going to be, world's biggest airport. So connections to get into. I mean, there are very few. If you were to have a worldwide exhibition or conference, there are destinations like, Las Vegas, for example, is very popular, but that's okay for the US people. But this whole landmass of Europe and Asia, Dubai is really at the center of it. And to have all those facilities here makes that a natural home for exhibitions and conferences of all sorts.
Absolutely. But in the end of the day, it's as well how I see Dubai, you don't have that suburbs areas. So in the end of the day, the people have to decide where to live, where they work or where the schools are. So Expo City is not just because of the events, it's as well for the new airport. The pilots, they will not live in downtown or in Arabian Ranges. They will live exactly Fairway Villas, MR South, the Valley, all the things in the south part who are near to the airport, as well all the stewardesses, all the people who are working in that airport, they have to be nearby. They cannot be in Damak Hills 2, for example, or something on the north side in the way to Abu Dhabi. It's impossible. And this is, I guess, how the people decide as well where to live. Some people, and this is as well where you have to check. My first thing, if some investors moving with his kids, is asking which curriculum your kid is going to school. USA, British, German, Swiss, because you have to check the location and pair as well for the school. Otherwise, you have to drive 2 hours to bring your kids or your son to school.
What do you think is the best strategy for people? Do you think it's a buy to hold and let out, or look to get capital appreciation, maybe keep for a year or so post completion and then sell on?
So my expectation is that the flipping time will be not more long time. I'm talking about 2 to 3 years, because you just have specific areas still who you can enter. Because what is flipping? You're entering a good price, you flip it out, and with that cash, you're buying new in. So, but you can just do it in areas still who is under development. So, but if you're looking on whole Dubai, there's not more that much areas who have to get developed. So if you start every time to go into the flipping project, the prices increases as well. So the cash flow will not be more there. I see it now, clients purchasing by me in JVC 3 years ago, a 1-bedroom apartment for 780,000 dirhams. He want to purchase now, watching on JVC, 1.2, 1.3 million dirham. You say, what happened in this last 3 years? How is that possible? So, and this will be as well in the next 3-4 years like this. So if you start every time to flip your property, then you will regret it. So I'm more in that to say diversify it, flip few till how it's possible the next 2-3 years. But I am more on the holder side than on the flipper side.
I think the other question I wanted to ask you, I think from a UK perspective, when we look at housing, I'm talking about luxury housing, you see some nice well-to-do roads, 4 or 5 bedroom detached houses, they have gardens and nicely landscaped or whatever. But here it's on a sort of different level. I've seen villas that are overlooking a polo course. I've seen villas and flats and apartments that are overlooking a purely artificial lagoon beach type of setup. Obviously there's stuff overlooking golf courses. What's the most and those all give USPs, don't they? Unique selling points to that location. What is the most extravagant location for the maximum number of, or the most outlandish view, if you like, and local amenities?
So I have
What
two
haven't I
favorite.
seen?
Jumeirah Park for me,
Jumeirah Park.
number one.
What do I see when I look out my window there?
Jumeirah Park, I see it more as well in a British way. If I entering the inside as well, a lot of British people are living in Jumeirah Park. It's very green. How you see, there's a lot of fountains and seas who you're looking over. It's a very beautiful community. Even if you are entering the front,
Is that Jumeirah Garden City, or is that something different?
No, that's different. So this is one of my favorite communities. Afterwards, Jumeirah Golf Estate, because you can view directly on the golf course. They're coming with new villas, let's say in Jumeirah Golf Estate. They make Jury Hills. There are beautiful villas. And the third thing is, if you have a very good budget, Emirates Hills. This is like my 3 top favorite villa communities.
Emirates Hills was one of the early community developments, wasn't it? The golf developments, and that's now seen as quite prime. It's established, basically. There's not much building work going on around. One of the most
expensive villa communities what you can get here in Dubai.
How expensive? How expensive is a?
They say minimum investment 50 million dirhams can go up to 380, 400 million dirhams.
Okay, so that's about 12, 13, about 14 million pound, I think.
Yes.
So it's a significant amount of money.
Absolutely.
And just a decade ago, for a villa to be in excess of 10, 12 million pounds, it just was unheard of.
100%. Checking just Palm Jumeirah. I remember 10 years ago how much a home garden villa on Palm Jumeirah was costing.
We haven't really talked about the next. We got the Palm, and there's
Palm
Jalab Ali. So that is that going to be a rinse and repeat of what happened in the Palm? People bought plots for next to nothing, quite frankly, and they've gone up more than 20-fold now. Is this going to be a repeat?
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. Normally, my father said every time you have just one chance in life, or you grab it, or it's passing away. In Dubai, it's different. They give you 2 chances. Because if you're checking Palm Jumeirah, how much the prices was, I remember people buying home garden villas for 9 till 14 million dirhams. Brand new back in the days. 9 till 14 million dirhams. Now we're talking about the middle till high number. So old villa, 26 to 35 million dirhams. Checking now, entering in Palm Jebel Ali, to a brand new villa, we are talking about now, if you're going into the new launches, 15, 17, 80 million dirhams. So still 10 million dirhams cheaper than the old villas now on Palm Jumeirah. So of course, everyone who's holding that type of villas, they will make money out of it. I remembered since yesterday, one of my agents was sleeping 3 days in front of the Nakil Mall. There was 3 days. They was eating outside, drinking to get the token number to save a villa for the investors. It was insane. All the rows were sold out in the same day.
Wow.
That is quite insane about Dubai. You've sent me quite a few videos that it's really unheard of for so many properties to be sold either pre-launch, before launch, or the day of launch. There does seem to be a frenzy when it comes to a good developer that launches and people are able to buy at the launch or pre-launch prices, but maybe you can explain that phenomenon, because in the UK, even in that hour, we had it for a short period of time. There was a period of time where people would actually queue, and they'd only queue in the morning or the night before. Do you remember those days?
I think it's good marketing. I think it's just very, very good marketing. Yeah. But I'd be interested to hear Mario's take.
So, everyone is talking about flipping properties. So, but all the investors or people, it's not just expats who are investing here. We have the GCCs. They are very strong, checking now. How I say the data, 5 to 10% increases in 2025.
Wow.
And the most sales transaction was in luxury segment, but not luxury Ellington Beach House. What is luxury on the Palm Jumeirah facing Atlantis? We're talking about penthouses, duplexes, 40, 50 million dirhams upwards. And going back now to the flipping sites, you cannot flip every property here in Dubai. So, and that's why these queues are happening as well. Because if you want to flip a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, it's just 3 developers who you can do it. It's MR, it's Nakil, it's Meraz. These 3 developers are in 1 day sold out. 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, you will not get it. The second date, if you come, you will not get it. You don't put an expression of interest, you will not get it. Even if you put an expression of interest, you have to pray to God to get one of these units. And if you get a backside view as well, you have to say thank you. This is really the fact. So that's why there are these queues to save the token number, because in the end of the day, you want to choose the right layout for you, the right view that was fitting for you, and this is for what the people are waiting. As well, then, if we are going about villas, there are not a lot of villas here in Dubai. If you're checking around in Dubai, you have Dubai Hills, but you have to love it because the price is already done, so you have to be an end user. You cannot buy more on DubaiView and villa as an investor. The times are over that you make money, or you are upgrading it and a fix and flip game, what is working here currently as well. But otherwise, checking Aldar is the governmental developer, let's say MR in Abu Dhabi. They launched Heaven as well for Dubai Island. Checking, it's a huge plot. The villa was in 1 day sold out. They were standing on the queue. Why? Because they're just waiting for the right investment and how they can enter into the market. And the investors knows that. I was never pushy to my investors. I never said, if you don't purchase now, you will lose the property. I let them wait. The second day I said, sorry, it's sold out. So the second time, if I tell him there's a new launch, he sent me the check straight away. He will not even ask me how much costs a 1-bedroom, because the facts that Dubai is working like that.
Wow. Dubai is just one emirate in the UAE. There is a little bit of action in the emirate next door with the casino coming up.
Ras Al Khaimah, yes.
And personally, I don't get it. I don't know why there seems to be so much. I don't see all the people just coming just for a casino. Is there something I'm missing here?
No, I agree with you as well. I never sold yet Ras Al Khaimah. I have there my own vision. In the end of the day, everyone knows there's multiple licenses and casino licenses for the Emirates plant. And everyone knows that MGM is currently talking with Abu Dhabi as well. So if you're looking how much effort Dubai was putting in to get that price per square feet, what we have now, compared to Ras Al Khaimah, before 3 years, no one was talking about Ras Al Khaimah. So getting now the same square feet price like Dubai, but if you're checking on one beach coast, you have the new towers get built. I drive 2 kilometers in front. I'm thinking I'm in Pakistan or India. I will not invest this 3,500, 4,000 dirham. Plus on top, this is my thing. On the day who everyone bought their properties, there will be a new announcement that a new casino will open. In which emirate this is, still I don't know, but it will happen. And if this will happen, the shock sales will come. So people get scared. They start selling the properties in Ras Al Khaimah. Then they sell it underpriced. And I'm pretty sure that Ras Al Khaimah will become a ghost city.
I have heard that it's quite possible that Dubai itself will have a license in not the too distant future for many reasons. Obviously, don't want people to take their money outside of Dubai and keep it in Dubai. So there is whispers, strong whispers, that there will be a casino license granted in Dubai in not the too distant future.
Dubai is Dubai and Abu Dhabi is Abu Dhabi. Ras Al Khaimah will be never the second Macau. But let's see. We will see it in 2-3 years what happened. Maybe I will buy a cheap property there afterwards.
But if it's a ghost town, it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
But there has to be more draw.
Absolutely.
I think Dubai has been very successful in creating multiple draws, multiple strings that pull people in.
In the end of the day, Dubai knows how to regulate the market. If you're watching 2008, we had one of the biggest crises. 2014, the next one. Then COVID came. Now we're in the year 2024. But how you say it, the nice thing is Dubai is transparent. You see all the data, you see all the purchase price and property prices. If you're checking, and do it please one time, from 2007 to 2025, all the purchases for good properties and good developers and good areas, even in the crisis, the landlord never made losses. He purchased cheaper and he sold it more expensive. Yes, there was a decrease of 15 to 20%, but he never sold as a distress deal. The only distress deals are happening here if you're taking a very good advisor who's promising you something and he cannot hold it and you don't have the money. Then you just sell through distress deals. But through the market, never a distress deal was happening here in Dubai.
So we've talked about distress deals. And Ranjan and I have definitely talked about distressed deals in Dubai. And we feel there will be an opportunity for distressed deals. Maybe we won't talk about it on this particular podcast because we'll discuss it with you more in detail. And that's certainly something that we have discussed before. There will be opportunities for lots of different reasons. And one of them is because of the very aggressive payment plans. And people's circumstances do change. And I think there will be some opportunities for people that are well placed, that understand the market, to take advantage of it, even with good developers. And there's different economic climates happening. Again, Ranjan and I discussed, in fact, Ranjan figured it out himself to do with the Indian market, that in terms of taking money out the country and how things might change. So there will be some opportunities for buying property, either that are completed or just before completion, or taking over sort of contracts. And that's one of the things that we would like to explore even more with you.
Absolutely, this is what I say. The distress deals will happen, but they're just happening if someone don't have the 40%. Because he was investing in something, so he want to sell it fast. Otherwise, what he want to do? But what I was meaning before is through the market, never happened a distress deal out of it. So this is a very important thing. It's same like in Germany. Before, everyone was talking about Germany is a safe country and you can put the money there. Look what happened with Germany now.
Yes, I think we just need to sort of define what we're talking about. I know what we're saying. What we're basically talking about is a distressed buyer as opposed to a distressed deal or distressed property. 2008 financial crash, it was the property that was distressed. Yes. What we're talking about, we're seeing groups of buyers that are getting distressed.
Absolutely.
But the property is still sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Because you get confusion as well. Sometimes you're buying 3 properties in one time. And the first time the payment plan looks nice, but after, if you start to paying it, you say, oh, what I did there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand cash flow. They don't take into account what they need to put aside, and people's circumstances change. Things happen in life,
and
death, marriages, divorce, all those things that can heavily affect your ability to make those contributions. So yes, we do think and those are the things that we will certainly be working with you towards.
And so much depends on negotiation. I mean, I've actually seen a development where some people in the building are getting a 40-60 plan and others have been sold apartments in the same building and it's an 80-20 plan. So it's a big difference paying 40% over 2.5, 3 years and 60% at the end, which you can get a mortgage on, as opposed to paying 80% during the same construction period and then having a final payment of 20. So it's not surprising that buyer gets into distress.
100%, totally agree. But how you guys are seeing post-handover payment plans?
So
post-handover payment plans.
So here's my take on post-handover development plans. It depends on where you are with your cash flow. If you're buying in an area that is a solid area and you have the ability to service the debt, both from your rental income and other income that you have, I don't think that's a bad option, especially for people that don't have a lot of money to start with. So the Dubai market offers lots of different opportunities, and that's another one. But we do know that a lot of the developers are offering the post-payment plans aren't always as strong as the other ones, because if they were, they wouldn't be offering it. However, there are new developers coming into this marketplace. You and I discussed it. There are good developers that have come from other countries and they need to break into the market. And the way that they break into the market is to have a different product. So yeah, those things I'm certainly interested in because it's a leverage. You know, the UK, we are lucky enough to have leverage, mortgage. So effectively the developer's giving you a mortgage.
Yep.
That's a really great way to get into the market and to participate and to minimize your risk at the same time because they're effectively putting their money on the table. So yeah, I'm very open to that.
So Ranjan, one question to you. Everyone is talking and we're seeing subleasing here in Dubai. It was before like that. Now the Dubai government became more consequent about subleasing contracts and who can sublease and who not. But everyone knows Dubai is an Airbnb market. Why do you think that Dubai is an Airbnb market and the short-term rental is so good here in Dubai?
I think, it's good for everybody. It's good for, I'm here staying in an Airbnb myself currently. I think, first of all, there's limited regulation. You know, in the UK, if people are doing Airbnb, you know, there's lots of very strange government policies about protecting the hotel industry. You know, whereas here it's just, you know, do whatever basically. You know, no one needs protection from anyone else. It's a competitive environment. The tourism boom is phenomenal here, and I think the other thing that Dubai has been incredibly successful at is getting repeat tourists. And I think that's there are lots of places like people go and see the pyramids, people go and see London, they tick it off the list. It's not as though they come back to London or go back and see the pyramids 2 or 3 times in their life. Dubai is one of the few holiday destinations which has cracked that repeatability. So, and if you talk to people, you know, yes, they're here now, but they came here 2 or 3 years ago. They came here 3 years before then. So the tourist numbers are growing, but the number of repeat tourists is actually quite strong. So that creates a massive market, and there's enough to go around in terms of people that want hotels and people that want the flexibility of having their own space and their own apartment. I think the big issue is for the landlord, of course, is the seasonality. I was speaking to someone who basically does a rent-to-rent type operation, where in the building that I'm currently in at the moment, they have got more than 100 apartments in that building. And at the moment, the occupancy is in excess of 94-95%. But during the summertime, that comes right the way down.
Absolutely.
So it's a very seasonal business.
Yeah, I have a slightly different take. And I think one of the reasons why Airbnb is so successful here, Airbnb is almost like a hotel. You come in, almost every building has a concierge, security, you have to give your ID, and also in terms of the maintenance of the property, the repairs, the meet and the greet, things are so more economical to do here in terms of your Deliveroos and Kareem and having food delivered, massages to your room, haircuts. There's just so much in terms of a luxurious apartment, whether it be a studio, 1 bed or 2 bed, that you can have the hotel experience for almost a fraction of the actual cost. You can even have your room cleaned on a daily basis like a hotel if you want to, and all of that, and have the ability to have a kitchen. So there's so many different perks compared to going to other countries that don't have what I call this safety and security aspect, which is almost like a holiday experience. Every apartment has a gym. They have swimming pools. It's just insane. So it really is like a hotel experience. And also some of the hotels have resident or Airbnb accommodation linked towards it. So you get the best of both worlds simultaneously. I'm staying at the moment in an apartment with my friend, which is linked to a hotel. So we get all the hotel experience, we get all the hotel access, and it's just an apartment connected to it. So yeah, it's a very different marketplace, and it's also more economical at the same time. So the cost of it and the flexibility, and the in addition to that, you have so many people coming here, and until they get their visas and know where they want to stay, with their work. It's very mobile. So, that's another reason why the Airbnb is a completely different marketplace, together with the lack of legislation and the ability for the country wanting people to succeed and to earn simultaneously. I'm getting too excited about
a lot of these a lot of these apartments on Airbnb are basically in mini resorts, which really does help. And I think they're probably, and something I wanted to ask you actually, they're probably areas which suffer more from seasonality than others. And I'm wondering whether we talk about Expo City. Exhibitions will take place, conferences will take place all year round, it's air conditioned and all of that. So there must be locations like that and others which will have more of an all-round market, all year round market.
Absolutely. So in the end of the day, Expo City, I don't think that it's already the right time to go into a holiday home, because yes, you have the exhibitions, but there are 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, then maybe you have a 6 months break. So then you have a 6 months break of income. So this you have to look forward. Currently, what I'm very surprised in, so I'm cooperating with one of the holiday homes, what I put my investors as well in. So they get managed almost 980 apartments here in the Dubai market.
Wow.
And Arjan is performing very well in holiday home. Creek Harbor is performing very well on holiday home. In the end of the day, you have to understand, okay, what is a good place? And this is again, okay, downtown is nice that people want to move to downtown, but what you have in the end, okay, you are near to the Dubai Mall, you have a tower, a pool, that's it. But if I move to Creek Harbor, I have a Crystal Lagoon, I have the supermarket, I have the Spinies in front of me, I have the Carrefour in front of me, I have the medical center. In 10 minutes, I'm in downtown. So where my kids have more fun, in a master community with all that, same like a resort style, how you say it, or to be or just to be in a tower. The same like now, Ellington Beach House got it handed over from one of my investors. Now next month it will be on holiday home, because private beach access, amenities, kids play area, kids pool. So you have specifically areas where you can say you can be booked, how one of your colleagues said, 95% per year. But this 95% just happened in that type of areas like Creek Harbor, JVC, because in the summertime as well, you have people who are coming for 2-3 months to rent out that type of units. Of course, if you're in Palm Jumeirah and Marina in August and July, it will be empty. No one will sit in 50 degrees and watching the sun and get burned like a chicken. But coming back to you, and this is my most important question. I know that you are decades inside and you create a massive portfolio. And I know that, Immanuel, you created as well a massive portfolio. So for all the new investors coming to Dubai, how do you see the year 2025 in Dubai and as well in UK, is how to create a portfolio and which stadium you have to be to create a portfolio? So can you give there some insights for new investors who are watching us or listening us and they're thinking now about creating their first portfolio for themselves?
I'll let Ranjan go first.
Well, I'll just maybe we'll do this another way. I'll just do an advantage I see over the UK, and then you do one, and then we'll do them until we run out. If one thing I do in the UK is development. So we'll buy rundown old buildings, commercial buildings mainly, convert them into residential use, and get the value uplift out of it. So that's a lot of work, and these projects will take more or less 12, 14 months from start duration to complete. Here, you can outsource all of that basically, because you go to a developer pre-launch, you secure some units when it's just sand, you get a little bit of a discount to the pre-launch price, and you just sit back on the beach, let them do all the work. 2 years' time, you get the handover, and in that time you've got a baked-in discount that you've got because you invested when it was just sand. Plus, you've got the other side of the coin, which is the natural capital appreciation, without doing the same traditional work that I'm having to do to get the same value uplift in the UK. So that's one advantage I see in investing in the UAE.
Yeah, I see.
There are loads.
There's loads. There's quite a few different ways. So people coming to the UAE, because it's such a diverse market, and just like the UK, location, location, location. But in Dubai, it's even more than location, location, because it depends not just on the location, it depends on the building, it depends on the floor, it depends on the view, it depends on the developer. So to enter the market, personally, I think people need to have a property consultant like yourself that will hold their hand to give them an idea where to invest. Payment plan, if you can get a really good payment plan, the lower the payment plan, the easier it is for you to participate in this increase that Ranjan was talking about. And if you have a lower payment plan, so if we talk about an 80-20 payment plan compared to a 40-60 payment plan, the same money can buy you two properties. It means you can flip one and you can keep one. So having the right knowledge about, I talk about financial IQ the whole time. I talk about raising your financial IQ, about leverage and gearing. Because you can't get mortgages in the same way, why not use the developer with a good payment plan to fund your projects and enter the marketplace over a period of time? And I suggest people come here, spend maybe 2 or 3 weeks, really understanding the market, driving around, working. We spent quite a bit of time with you before we even dipped out there, before I did. And I bought some stuff for my son. He lives out here. And that's how I would enter the marketplace. I'd get a really good payment plan. Buy where you can, pre-launch or at launch, so you get a baked-in discount. And if you also work with a good broker, or should I say consultant, as we did with yourself, that you can also piggyback from their investor network where they're buying maybe 10, 15, 20 units. So you can get advantage of leverage for what they're buying. You're building in safety at the same time. So those are the things that I would suggest people do. I won't talk about other things that we would like to create here for people that want to invest out here, but we will be putting something together to help people really understand and navigate the marketplace and work with really good brokers like yourself.
Thank you so much.
I think the other thing that people need to get up to speed on is that I don't think there's any, it's not as though there's one Dubai. You go to countries like UK, southeast of England, for example, each town is very, very similar. Because of the master community way of developing things here, you've basically got Dubai is a city, but it's a city there's cities within cities. I think people talk very negatively in the West about the imposition of 15-minute cities, which they're trying to do they're trying to stamp 15-minute cities on cities that were never designed in that way. Whereas here, they've started really from the ground up. You're making a zone where you can work, you can play, you can shop, you can sustain quite willingly. You don't really need to go out of your master community. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And that, I think, gives people a lot more lifestyle choices as well. And each one of those master communities, those cities within cities, has a different feel to it, a vibe to it. And it's what suits you and your lifestyle that will dictate where you would want to live. Now, we've been having this discussion as investors, but if we were having this discussion as owner-occupiers, we'd all come up with different areas depending on the lifestyles that we want. But there's no right or wrong answer to those.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I guess this is the nice thing still what you can do, how you said, is you have to do a lot of job in UK to get the capital out of the property.
Yeah.
So, and here in Dubai, but why? Because the UK already have the infrastructure. So you have to do something by yourself to make it valuable. But here in Dubai, still you have options who the market is giving you the value, how you say, to lay down and just watch till the property is done. You just have to find the right spot. Checking now what we have to do last time, how I was talking with one of my investors in JVT, because now this year, December, get it hand over the Alkane Mall. So then you have the metro station, what is coming in 3 to 4 years. You have 80% villa community, just 20% apartments. So you don't have the competition like in JVC.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many facts what you have to look on it to get a good capital appreciation.
Let me say something for our UK viewers. I mean, imagine in the UK, in the southeast of England, we've pretty much, over the last decade, we've pretty much had one infrastructure project, which is the Elizabeth line, which runs from the western suburbs of London right through the eastern suburbs of London. And people that invested in property on that Elizabethan train line did very, very well. If you know that there was a plan to build a line, if you got in early at where you know the train stops are going to be, you got exponential growth. And that's pretty much been the only infrastructure opportunity in the last decade. Here you're in an environment where there are infrastructure opportunities everywhere. There are just so many of them. You've just got to, and I think my advice to people interested in Dubai is to get online and research that master plan. Find out what they're actually planning over the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and let that also influence your investment strategy.
Absolutely. So that was all my question to you, Immanuel and Ranjan. I don't know if you have questions to me still, but thank you so much having you here in the DubaiView podcast studio.
Well, I think people that are watching this should like and they should subscribe and they should follow you, as well as Ranjan and Succeed in Property. There's some great information that you have. I've seen a lot of your podcasts. Some of your guests are absolutely outstanding, as well as we are.
I appreciate it.
So have you managed 2 people on your show?
Difficult.
Is it difficult getting a word in?
Yeah, it's difficult. 2 experienced developers against 1 young real estate advisor who's trying to succeed in the Dubai real estate market.
You've done very, very well.
It was a pleasure.
Very well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having us. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you.